Hey everybody. Hey Kevin. Happy Friday afternoon. Same today command as this morning, I think. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna check in what I did earlier and then add in some new things. So let's try this in context actually. Let me close out these other tabs as long as I'm at it. There we go. Pretend 13 second. Hey Sinistello. You feeling rested? I know you said you got up late today. All right, so all we're doing is this and this and this and reading this. Oh, there are no stats. We need stats. All right, the damage per second dealt by all of your party members, including summons. Why does it say average DPS? It should just say DPS. The total. Oh, okay. This should change. It should say. It shouldn't say this. It should just say DPS, I think. And I think the tooltip needs to be slightly different as well, but I'm not totally sure how. The total damage per second. Damage per second dealt by. I don't know how to write this. Maybe it's already clear enough. The damage per second dealt by all of your party members, including summons, over the course of the battle. Including summons over the course of the battle. Yeah. Just doing a bit off because everyone I hang out with stays up later than I want to, and I've been giving into peer pressure. Yeah, I do not have much of a problem if people are over or if I'm over at someone else's place, just being like, I can't stay up any longer. And if I'm already home, I'll just go to bed. And if I'm not home, then I'll just be like, we have to leave. Because I don't think it's worth throwing off my sleep schedule. Although the older I get, the more I realize that other people also just want their sleep schedule as well. But yeah, I did not care about it so much a long time ago. Hey, Alton. Okay, so this part looks good, and this part looks good. And this is just change DPS label and tooltip. I think this makes it slightly clearer, although perhaps it still needs some work. All right, then the battle simulator, what do we do here? We are now processing all of the results, and this was fixing a bug. Fix bug with simulated battles. If you had the warehouse unlocked when finishing a simulated battle, it would throw an exception because the warehouse didn't know how to handle having an empty loot list. Yeah. Okay, and this is show macro stats for simulated battles. Things like win rate, etc., that are recorded over many battles. Can we make an empty scene with just battle system and automatically start the simulation? We could, but part of the reason why I'm doing it this way is so that you can pick your skills and like save and load the game. We could have different save files specifically for certain builds we're testing. Like I wanted the rest of the game UI to still be there. And same thing with picking the location. It's like we already have all that UI. We'd have to code it if we didn't want that UI so that we're like specifying individual builds and which characters we want to test. I think it'd be a lot more work. Okay, so I had some quick, easy wins here. Print where you did the battle and which abilities you had equipped. Okay, so that's in the battle simulator. Ran this many battles in instance ID equals. Does it not know the instance ID? Oh, it doesn't know where you ran these. Oh. Well, we could just keep track of private static instance ID, last instance ID. There we go. So hopefully that works. We'll need to test it though. And then print the abilities you had equipped. We got to do that too. Hey, Wendy, how's it going? Wendy, you said you got a 4-button keyboard. What is it? Is it like a small macro pad just for controlling OBS or something? Because I didn't realize there was fierce competition in this category, but I kind of hate your guts now, so guess that's a thing. All right, abilities you had equipped. We need to know which adventurers you had. And all we know where the adventurer class is. Well, I guess the battle simulator could know about the town, but it's probably easier to just keep track of the adventurers you used. Private, static, I read only list, adventurer, adventurers, last adventurers used. These are all for the same battles. I guess if we randomize these, this would be a problem. I was joking. I do have a... Oh, you were joking? Okay, because there was a Stack Overflow copy paste keyboard. This had 3 buttons, so I thought it is reasonable to get a keyboard with 4 buttons. You wouldn't use it as to type English, but you might use it for, yeah, mute, raise volume, that sort of thing. Anyway, fine. I'm still better than you then. 8 removed. Are you still going like crazy busy, Windy? Last adventurers used. All right, let's store this too. As long as we don't randomize this, I think we're fine. Although I do wonder if we should have some sort of like just run 300 battles with totally wonky builds and see what's the most powerful. I think that would be pretty nice. Feeling it too, so tired. Is there any reprieve in sight? Are you taking like a Thanksgiving time off or something? Except for you wouldn't have Thanksgiving over there. Is this C#? Yeah. And hey, Ender. Gonna make one that you had to press the keys multiple times to get the letter you want, just like texting. It'd be legendary. You can totally do that. Hey, Mystical Cell. What's up? We were working on the balance simulator today. I will show you in just a sec. We should probably have a burst mode or something that just does 500 battles with random parties at the selected location with random abilities and prints the strongest and weakest. Maybe that's not even that interesting though. I don't know. Either way, this would be a task for later, I think. In fact, let's just bump it down the list. Okay. So, last adventurers used. This is not read-only, but we do need to use it. We have adventurer classes used. I guess we can just get this from here now. This dot select a adventurer component dot get adventurer class. In fact, I think we can just write it like this, can't we? We can't? Cannot implicitly convert type I enumerable. Oh, yeah, well, we can do this then, to list. Although I don't care that it's a list, do I? I guess I do care that it's a list because I want count, yeah. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Contract I'm working on finishes up at the end of the year, so that's a big reduction. Plus my house move will be concluded soon. What? House move isn't done? This started like 10 years ago, Windy. You tell your house it's finished moving. Next year is one game and a small side project. I see. Next year is Skeleseller. What's your small side project then? Because it's nice that you've committed to working on the game. It's not gone smoothly. I'm sorry to hear that, truly. I think house moves are stressful enough when they go well. Houses actually do move, by the way. There's some amount of just like tectonic plate shifting, and they move by like an inch every year or something, right? The land under them moves. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was showing off the balance simulator. So we have this. So what we've been doing here is I've added the adventurers and their skills to the game, and we did that a while ago, but they weren't really balanced, and balancing them is very, very tough to do. Balancing is easier in games where, let's say, you only have like one role for each class. So for example, in Diablo and Diablo 2, I don't know about the newer games, but at least in these games, you just had damage dealer. That was pretty much it. So you could pretty much just measure like, okay, how many enemies do you kill? Or how much damage do you do? But once you have multiple party members in a battle, I think it's a lot harder to do. And that's the thing we've got to figure out here. I'm not trying to say it's easy to balance Diablo. There are still lots of considerations. And even then, the game didn't turn out perfectly balanced or anything. So what we're doing is we made a balance simulator. And the way this works is it kicks off 100 battles and then shows you the results. So here we can see we ran 100 battles in the forest. We won all of them. The average duration was 14.8 seconds. We did about 7 DPS. And we lost about 38% life. So this is really going to help us figure out what's too difficult to make work, what's too powerful, what's whatever, all that sort of thing. Excuse me. You have detailed charts of the tectonic slides of the property. This is what's taking all of Wendy's time. He's like, oh, the contract, it's just so difficult. He's got like reams of paper devoted to the charts though. Hey, Crazy, it's going well. It is definitely going well. I've had a productive morning so far, and I think we're off to a good start over here. We need to print out all of the abilities that an adventurer has. I don't think I've ever done this before. Do we have a way of printing them? Get level, set, get ability, modify, toString. Here we go. There's an ability toString. What does that do? Display name and level. Wow, look at that. Well, that's exactly what I want. That's way easier than I thought it would be too. Okay, and then let's print out the for each adventurer in last used adventurers. We're going to print out, actually, maybe we should just print it here for the class. Adventure equals, get the first one of those, and then print out abilities. I guess let's just do this the same way. Abilities component dot get. That's not a thing. Okay, fine. ECS get component, abilities component. All right, let's see how that looks. A weird dark point and click adventure series. Main project is Stargunners. Gotcha. Weird dark point and click adventure series though. Interesting. You know, Wendy, I've been meaning to ask you one of these days, would you be okay with like you give me all of the assets of one of your games, or maybe many, and then I make a different game with it? And by give, I don't just mean like this is totally for free out of the goodness of your heart or something, but like, is that an idea that interests you? What type of keyboard is that? It is a Corn keyboard. Worth making a small UI to show this in game instead of the console, maybe a rich text label, maybe also a progress bar. Yeah, I think it's worth it. But I think we need to figure out how we're going to show, we need like a log or something. Maybe add a UI, even just a rich text label in a scroll container, or many such labels in a container. There could be a clear button or a copy all. Did it work? Yeah, I think it worked. Okay, let's try it. So we're gonna put the, let's put 4 characters into a battle here and just see what happens. Not gonna say anything. DM me if you're serious. Always happy to discuss stuff. It was one of those things where it's like, hey, here's an idea that struck me, but I don't have any kind of time for that idea. Yeah. But I think it'd be interesting. What I'm learning is even making Skeleseller, I originally said like, oh yeah, a game like this will take about 6 months. Well, it's gonna take longer than 6 months. And this is, I would say, a small-ish game. So it makes me think there's just no chance of making any, like, pumping out games unless I was doing it for a game jam or something. All right, let's look at the stats. Won 100% of the battles, average duration 41 seconds. We can now see all of the levels of the abilities. I think maybe this would look a little bit clearer if I used a slightly different format. And I think the format I'm thinking of is this. We just change all the level text into parentheses. That's supposed to look like this. Is that easier to parse? I feel like it might be slightly easier to parse. Yeah, I like that better. All right, let's parentheses around this then. One game every 1.5 years now, and that's a push. Yeah, and I don't know. Here's the other tough thing is whenever you're planning a game, it's hard to know how it'll end up. Your plan is not equal to the result. And in my case, originally what this started as was just idle ascendance, which as an entire code base took 3 weeks, and had we like polished it and everything, it might have lasted 3 months maybe. But that wasn't good enough, so then we pivoted, and then we pivoted a little bit more and pivoted a little bit more. And I wouldn't even say it's feature creep. I think it's just like this is what it takes to make this game successful. I think it's fine to drop the level too. So that would look like this. Actually, I kind of like the idea that they're still in parentheses maybe. That way it stands out. Yeah, I want at least that. Yeah, with the parentheses. 3 devs are working? Yeah, 3 devs are working. Yeah, and that was one of the other big things I learned from Botland is I was working with Hideo, but I felt like the scope of that game should have had like 5 people working on it, 5 developers. Oh wait, was the and a question? Yeah, Kevin is the other person. Ah, darn it, my mouse is doing that thing. Hang on a second. Yeah. There's this command to find out everyone who's working on it. I just added a new entry yesterday, by the way. So assets used, I did end up buying the graphics or the sound assets from here. Yeah. I haven't added them all into the game yet though. Your mouse breaks your keyboard? No, the mouse has its own like whole key input thing, and every once in a while something gets stuck on the mouse itself. So there it was like shift was held down on the mouse or alt was held down or something like that. So that every key I press on my keyboard is like it has shift held down, but it's not the keyboard failing, it's just the mouse causing a shift key to be sent without getting released. Non-nullable field must contain a non-null value. Yeah, sure. All right, so now we can print all that out. Those were easy wins, right? Print the enchants. I'm not going to do that. Although we do need a balance with enchants. Well, I'm not worrying about that yet. Okay, so we're just printing out more stuff here. Set this to false. Why is it still yellow? I just need to rebuild. Pedals. I've thought about it. I think it'd be cool. Especially if you already play organ. You'd probably be very used to using pedals. I don't play organ. But I think it'd be neat. I'm going to just reload this whole thing. All right, did it work? Indeed. I drive, does that count? That does not count, no. Not at all the same kind of pedals. Unless you also shout, in which case it's like holding the shift key when you got the gas held down. Yeah, I think that fixed it. I think this is looking good. Okay, so what do we do here? print instance location and abilities used from the battle simulator? Or is your manual? Okay, then it counts. You got enough pedal usage. Start with all unlocked adventurers. Town, start game. I guess we need to have the debug feature in order to have the balance simulator on. So skip tutorial and then also, I guess, like apply balance simulator changes. What does it even do? Start with unlocked adventurers. Start with the speed set to 8. And make enchants last for longer. I set the speed to 8. How do we do that? Debug menu. Speed. Could we set the time scale to infinite? I don't think it's a good idea. So increase game speed is right here. It's public. We could just call that a bunch of times. But we could also just have a like set speed to max. I think that makes more sense. Why is this static? We're just changing the engine timescale. This is strange. This is strange, yeah. Where we do this, just increase game speed. A sewing machine pedal. Those are like plasticky pedals, right? Yeah. It's static because it just needs that engine, not timescale. Which, I mean, I could just set this to 8, I guess. Although, what if we took in the town? Does the town have unlock all adventures public? No, it doesn't. All right, well. So if you're simulating a battle, then set the timescale to 8. Unlock all adventurers. Oh, I see. And there was one other thing I needed to do. Make enchants last until overwritten. Where does the enchant time come from? Enchant crystal, maybe? Battle mod data. Let's just search this for duration. Data duration. Where is it used? It's doing that thing again. Where F12 just stops working. Big plastic, yeah. It usually gets fixed when I restart this. Maybe it's not used anywhere? Huh. Well, the duration has to be used somewhere. If I search for dot duration, where does this show up? Here it is. Start a timer with a very long duration is what we need to do. But then we use this in a couple places, right? Update crystal fill percent based on time left. All right, so we're going to set this to infinite. What is start? A double? Time, I'll just say duration of buff or of enchant is equal to this. But if you are simulating a battle, then it is double dot max value. DOE. Got it. All right. So we should have done all of that stuff, except for the battle simulator isn't running. Let's go run it. Not possible. I believe people can make anything work. I mean, all it's doing at its core is making two metal contacts touch. Actually, it doesn't necessarily have to be doing that, but it's almost certainly doing that. Okay, so what did we just do? We made enchants last forever. Let's go try that out. I guess we should grant you the enchanter's den as well, huh? So if I put this here, it should last for an infinite amount of time. Oh, weird. It broke. Why did it break? Oh, because this value is higher than the max value? Time span overflowed because the duration is too long. What? Oh, interesting. Huh. I guess we can't set it to max. We just need to set it to really, really high. Well, it's not really a problem. This is in seconds, I believe. So we could just set this to like, I don't know, 100,000 seconds. 100,000 divided by 60. That's 1,666 minutes divided by the time scale of 8. That's 3.5 hours. All right, let's double it. Two E6. I'm kidding. Let's just make it 1E7. Let's see. Hey, F. How are you doing? Okay, so now can we do this? We need to unlock the enchanter by default. I can't forget that. There we go. It says it's lasting for 46 minutes. So this is in milliseconds? Huh. Hey, who cares? What did I have for lunch? I had chicken tacos. And my wife got a pizza and I had 2 bites of that. But then she said, you can have the rest of this pizza. And I was like, what? For me? Rec 2 size is negative. This is not supported. What? Is it because of this? It's probably this. Time left divided by duration. It's not negative though. What? None of this makes sense. No, the time left would be a very, very large number. I don't know why that's getting set as negative. Classic American lunch. Wendy, if you ever come over here, I'm giving you like gray slop for lunch. I'll be like, ha, it's the lunch you're used to. Maybe overflowing. That's what I was thinking. It might be overflowing. Although 1 times 10 to the 7th shouldn't overflow a float. But maybe we should change this. Are these constants? Yeah, I think they are. I was going to say we could change them that way. No, not at gunpoint. Now I want chicken tacos. I feel like if you say the word taco on stream, you're going to convince at least one person to go eat tacos. The last person was Kevin. All right, you know what? 1E6 is probably fine. Let's just see if that somehow changes this. Then let's also unlock the enchanter by default. MD enchanter. Unlock the enchanter. Add next crystal. We want to add all of the crystals. Yeah, so this won't work. Well, it will work, but we need a 4 I equals 0, I is less than 3, I plus plus. There. And all of this should be somewhere else. So we'll just write this as like, I don't know, set up town for battle simulations. Set up town for battle simulations. Okay, how's that? I do enjoy tacos, rare find in the UK. Rare find from restaurants, you mean? Because I was going to say, if you can just buy tortillas, they're so easy to make. Partner's mentioning she wants them. She always wants them. Well, and also I was going to say, you said you made like the best ones you ever had the last time you made them. That instills a lot of confidence that the next tacos are also going to be good. I keep forgetting what we're testing. Oh yeah, enchants. Okay, this works except for the sign is still showing up. We probably need to hide that sign. Signs.enchanter sign.hide. Yeah, restaurants. Wendy, what's the most common like 2 or 3 cultures of food where you live? Because I was gonna say here in the Seattle-ish region, there's quite a lot. I feel like there's a lot of, it's just a pretty good variety here. Hard to say even what's most common. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if you looked this up online and didn't just trust my judgment, what they would say. All right, nice. This looks good. I guess we also need to grant the warehouse and probably the vault and probably some items. Yeah, it'd be the smart thing to do. I don't think I've ever made tortillas myself. It makes sense that they would probably be easy to make, but I've just never done it. Indian food, Chinese food, and pizza. I like Indian food and I like pizza. Chinese food I've never been like super into, I guess. Some people are just bonkers for dumplings. I don't get it. They're not bad, but I just never crave a dumpling. I know that's not the only thing Chinese food is. It's just my wife loves dumplings and she's always like, "Can we go to this a couple different dumpling places around here?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so." All right, so give you the vault and give you some items in the vault. I think that would be pretty nice. How do we make the vault? Oh, it just exists by default? By default? All right, how do we add to it though? I don't know. I guess it has control over adding this itself. It probably has some accessor on it. Let's see. Add next item display. Oh, nice. Cool. Okay, so let's just add all of them. How many can we add? Current level plus plus. There's no max level thing on here. Has reached max level. Yeah, let's just do that. 4, or just while true. Add next item display, or while vault hasn't reached the max level. All right, cool. Then put some items in it. How do we do that? Vault dot. I don't know. Doesn't the storeroom have a way of just adding some items? Nope. It doesn't. Huh. I only put that in the warehouse? Yeah, here it is. It's only in the warehouse. Grant items. How does this work? Item IDs to grant. Get some displays. Turn off collision and grant them. Yeah. So why don't we just put this in the root class and then grant you some vault item? Good as proper Chinese food. In the UK, you mostly get the takeaway Chinese food, which isn't very good most of the time. Yeah, man. I've been to hot pot places, I think now twice in my life. And I have such a complaint with this kind of place because I have to pay a ton and I have to do the work. That is called cooking. I do not go to a restaurant to cook. Well, the paying a ton isn't part of cooking. You need fine flour and warm water. Having a press helps. You can use a plate or other surfaces. I have a rolling pin. Could I use that? Okay, so we're going to put this in the root class. Storeroom. Put this here. Item IDs to grant out sample. Sample doesn't exist, which means we probably now have it in here and don't need it. Well, we have a ton of stuff in here and don't need it. In fact, a warehouse is pretty much nothing. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, so now grant items. And we want to grant whatever items it is you want to test with. So I guess let's do that for now. Might as well buy the ingredients myself and cook it at home. Yeah, and I think there's something to be said for maybe the ingredient variety, the not having to clean up, the social experience. I could understand that stuff. But if they just made it all for me, I'd be happy and probably wouldn't even have to pay as much. May need a bit more care. It's not like it's crazy hard. Yeah, we've always bought our tortillas, but I forget how many come in a pack. They're not cheap. It's like $4 for, I want to say like 18 flour tortillas, something like that. And that seems expensive to me. Hey, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say replace this with whichever items you want to use to enchant. and then grant some random items. What happens if you have too many items? I see. Grant some random items to spark ideas. I don't even think we have a way of doing this. Yeah, I don't think we have a way of doing this. We can do this though. We run this a couple times and what is add items? Spawn on the ground? On the ground? This should work. Yeah. Okay, that was supposed to say 2. Okay, let's try that. You want to try making some now? You store the tortillas in the fridge? Don't they go stale faster? I think they last longer and go stale faster. So you can still eat them. They'll just taste worse sooner. Because we just leave them out. They generally don't even go bad. Well, not for long. They obviously go bad eventually. They are perishable. All right, so we should have some items up here. Nice. So we have the... Wait, that's worth 0? Oh, we haven't added this in the game yet. All right, but now workers don't ever take this stuff. Nice. Yeah, pretty nice. Okay, hold on. Should you store tortillas in the fridge? Do not have to be refrigerated. Doing so... Yeah. So, okay, pretty much what I thought. Huh. I feel like they last about a week when you don't refrigerate them. Swears by storing them in the fridge. Okay, yeah. Do you also store bread in the fridge? Either of you? Because that's another thing where it's like, I think it just goes stale faster, but it will last for longer. We actually just store our bread in the freezer now and just take out like 1 or 2 slices when we need it. Because we just don't go through bread that often. And that's pretty convenient. It's only like 5 minutes to heat it up. You store your bread in the bread shed, right by your bread bed. The bed made out of bread. You sink right into it. You wake up and you're hungry, you eat your pillow. I am made of good ideas, by the way. I wouldn't, but she also likes to do it. Someday you should just be a rebel. Leave your bread on the counter and just make eye contact with her. All right, that's pretty good. Hey, unknown. Maybe I should, because the last quarter of my homemade bread always gets moldy. And hey, Mr. Evil Rex. Yeah, I think the issue with bread is that you're probably not eating it as quickly as you are tortillas, maybe, in terms of how many tortillas come in a pack versus how much bread comes in a pack. So from that point of view, it probably makes sense. But yeah. All right, so we did all this stuff. We did not show the outliers. Add a UI, add a repeat button. I think a repeat button would be pretty good. Oh, we don't print the adventurer levels. I don't know if that matters. It doesn't have all the fun chemicals in it. I just bought a container that says fun chemicals on it. I put that in everything that I make. Sometimes I get some cool buffs, like higher attack power. As many of the specified items as possible. Yep. Looks good. Looks good. Yeah, nice. All right, cool. What do we do? Set town up for battle simulation. When the game is set up for simulating battles, we'll now set a lot of the states that will help you start the simulator. E.g., increase the game speed, unlock all adventurers, give you the enchanter and the vault, etc. I don't actually know if there is more for me to justify an etc., but there might be, and I'm not going to look through it. Notice bread doesn't last as long here in the US as it would in Spain. Not sure what y'all put into it. Well, sugar for one thing. Mystery chemical surprise. Was your favorite Sonic Zone Zones. What was it? Chemical plant? Zones. Chemical plant zone. I think it's what Windy's place looks like. There's Windy. Yeah, right there. Huh. Chemical plant was awesome. The music of this entire game was awesome. I mean, the game itself was pretty cool too, but man, I really like the music. I think my favorite one, although I don't like the instrumentation for it, was this one. Aquatic Ruin Zone. Love those chords. Whoop. Sorry, that was super loud. I didn't expect it to be a trumpet. Sorry, let me change that. Yeah. Yeah, for those who haven't heard this, it was this. Let's see. Oops. B. It's a G minor 7. E minor 7/5. Yeah. It is very hard to play that on a tiny keyboard, especially when I'm trying to balance on my lap. But yeah, I love that music. So show the min and max. Let me think about this. I wonder what we're going to see in terms of variance for this. Push the potion shop path thing. Oh, cool. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I think it'll be a nice little change. Never thought the games were very good though, personally. I liked them, or at least the beginning of them. There are a lot of games from pretty much, I'd say up to N64, where the beginning of the game is a ton of fun, and then you hit a wall. And for Sonic, it was like the whole game was just about going fast, right? So the first zone is pretty much just like hold the right button, jump occasionally. Then the other zones later in the game are like, we're going to punish you for holding right and trying to go fast. You're going to hit spikes. You're going to need to wait. You need to time your jumps. And it makes sense. But yeah, same thing. Super Mario 64, it's like as a casual player, the first few worlds are great. I love them. Then they get to points where it's like, they just get more tedious. I feel like my fun generally like drops off in a lot of games. Leftover arcade game design mentality. I don't even entirely think it was that. I think it was a combination of things. One is you bought the game, so everyone can enjoy the beginning, but the pro players will get to the end. And this extends playtime. And then also it's like you will gain skill as a player, and it'll allow you to beat the rest of the game. But yeah, maybe some of this was a holdover from the arcade era. And I find that if I show people some games, like I have now shown a bunch of people Super Metroid who never played it, and they generally start out liking it, and then they hit that difficulty barrier, and then they're like, this is not fun for me anymore. And it's just kind of sad, I feel, because I say this a million times, but I think every piece of media has a lifespan. The classic stories, the classic movies, the whatever classic video, it doesn't matter what. I think there is a context associated with that time, either what you expect out of a story or pacing or language or graphic style, anything, where you just might be far enough away from that context that you can't enjoy it anymore. And yeah, I think we're at that point now where if you show a modern gamer Super Metroid and they've never seen it before, the odds that they like it are much lower than if you'd shown it to them when it came out. If they use the same item displays, why are the labels under the displays only in the storeroom? Is it the creation order? It might be, yeah. Started to play Factorio. My question is if you have any plans to add trains to Skeleseller. No, no trains. Okay, which are the interesting outliers? Maybe the duration, to know what the minimum or maximum duration is. Maybe we just compute them all anyway. Who cares, right? Double lowest duration, highest duration, there. So battle duration, average, min, max. Perfect. All right, average DPS. This is the average, this is the DPS across every battle. Yeah, I guess let's do the same thing. Average DPS, min DPS, max DPS. Min, max. All right, what else? What else? What else? What else? Duration, DPS. We could do it for the adventurers. I think for someone like the mage, that would be pretty interesting to do. Where do we get the DPS? Oh, that's stored in the battle? No, it's not stored in the battle. No, it is. Wait, hold on. What are we doing? Yeah, no, we do not. We do not do that. So we have average. Let's also get minimum and maximum. Min, max. All right, average DPS for class. Our stats, adventure, DPS. All right, I'm going to do it this way. And max, yeah, good, perfect. Okay, now plug this in, DPS. Average is equal to that. Min and max. And then the remaining life, I don't really think I care about that. Yeah, let's try that out. Inventory crafting trains. Let's just make Factorio. So, Unknown, what you're describing here, a totally disconnected train mechanism in the game. I've mentioned this game a bunch of times, but Nonogram's Katana is what I've been playing. And the latest thing I've been working toward is an airship. I don't know what this thing does, and I've been spending like weeks trying to unlock it. And I finally, at like 5 p.m. today, I'm going to get in. And it's like, why is there an airship in the game? So we totally could just add a train to Skeleseller. Just never explain it. And who knows what it does. And who cares? Okay, so what I want to try is this. I want to have the mage get 2 levels of inspiration and put the mage and something else into a battle. Mage and maybe the cleric and the paladin and a whole bunch of those. Sure. And I forgot the balance simulator. I'm never going to do this right. Thanks for the stream and insightful discussion about the perishability of flour tortillas and their storage solutions. Until next time. All right, enjoy your chemical rubs, Windy. Have a good weekend. Thanks for dropping by. Loving the pay-per-view. Yeah, I think it is great. I love it. All right, here we go. You ready for this? Let's look at the stats. Just got to wait for them to print out. There they are. So let's look at the min and max. Min DPS. Wow, that's actually quite the range. 31 to 41. DPS could be as low as 48 and as high as 63. Average DPS of each adventurer. Maybe I should say party DPS versus adventurer DPS. Yeah, it's probably clear. Party DPS and adventurer DPS. All right, what other stats did we get though? Average remaining life. Why does this not have minimums and maximums? That's pretty important. Yeah. Well, the minimum remaining life is almost always going to be 0. The max, though, will rarely be 100%. All right, remaining life. Maybe remaining party life. Average equals that, min, and max. Cool, let's try it out. Try to sell it, explodes one of the shop stands. You just have to pay for it again. You know what I was thinking? Quickie Joe already did the artwork for Abby in terms of emotes, which I guess I have the emotes in this command now. But what if Abby were just in the game? I don't want to do that though. I don't want there to be too much of the like insert my own life into the game, because I think that only appeals to the people who watch the stream. All right, let's do this again. A giant cat destroys your shop. Starts batting the adventurers around like balls of yarn. All right, that is quite interesting. Also interesting to see that the average is 58%, but the minimum is 39%. So it's skewed more toward adventurers having higher life. So maybe there's an unlucky roll somewhere. Anyway, the mage is where I'd expect the DPS to be most wildly different. So the range here is from 17 to 29. Oh, wow, the warrior has it too. Oh, because they can miss attacks. Wow, the cleric sucks. We probably should keep track of healing. Yeah. We should. It's just going to take forever. Keep track of healing done per adventurer. Cats hunt snakes. Cats with hats hunt snakes. Snakes with hats. So this is other stats to track. This. You all at once in separate slots, so you can compare all of them in an instance. All of them at once in separate slots, so you can compare all of them in an instance. I guess I could, but there's a problem with that too, which is that, okay, so I think we got to be very careful about how we collect stats. So think about this. You have 9 adventurers in a location that typically only allows for 3. So now tanking is different, healing is different, summoning doesn't even work. Like, what are you learning from those battles? I want to be careful that we're not like, okay, let's say you did this and for whatever reason you conclude the rogue needs to be changed. What change could you possibly learn from this that you could even conclude this? I just don't see how it would tell you anything. Your cat is the cutest one I've ever seen. Well, thanks, even though you said you say that to everybody. All right, I don't think I want to actually do this right now. Well, how hard is it to track healing? We haven't even done any work yet. Well, not any sort of real balancing work. It's all just been the balance simulator. We track adventurer damage somewhere. Where is that? DPS by class. Oh, there it is. Could not see that for some reason. Yeah, so we need to keep track of adventurer healing dealt. There are only, I think, 2 characters that can heal. Unless you count the zombies. What is the source of lifesteal? I don't actually know. Lifesteal percent buff. This is granted by an item. Oh, wait, what? It's granted by this? That's strange. Let me see how lifesteal works. Who do we attribute this to? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Lifesteal amount, heal damage, source. Okay, I see. So it doesn't matter who gave you the buff. You are considered to heal yourself. So that would mean that if there's a cleric in the party, then everyone gains some healing ability. Yeah, I think we need to know this. I think we need to. I keep trying to somehow rationalize that we don't need it so I don't have to do the work, but there's no way. We just need to know this. All right, well, you know the drill. Let's go at it. So we'll just save Adventurer Healing dealt. This is registered damage dealt. So if a summon heals something, I guess it counts as healing done for the summoner. But zombies can heal themselves. But zombies also die. Oh man, what do we do? I guess we just know that the witch doctor isn't really doing real healing. Yeah. All right, so what are we doing here? We get a source, and what we're trying to do is get the adventurer out of that source. All right, so let's write a function here. Private adventurer question mark get adventurer from entity. Node entity. It's going to be this function that we have written. So this is entity. They're summoned, use that as the source, get this. If C is not equal to null, return that. Otherwise, return null. Got it. Can cleric buff zombies with lifesteal? I think so. In which case, yes, it'll seem like it's the witch doctor's healing, but that's already the case. Even if the cleric and the rogue are together, it'll look like the rogue has healing. So I don't think that's important. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we got to write this as a comment here. Given an entity, this will return the adventurer that corresponds to it if there even is one. For summons, this means it should return the summoner. For adventurers, this should return the... For battlers that came from adventurers, this should return the adventurer itself. For enemies, would return nothing. Cool. 1 week closer to Pet Snake with Hats. Have a great weekend. Take care, Unknown. Thanks for dropping by. Hope you have a good weekend. We are 2 weeks away from the launch of version 0.4. And there is a lot to do, but Snakes with Hats, not one of the things. Add sound effects, still got to put some time in that. Balance and content. This is already done, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Yeah. I think we've got enough time. In fact, I think we probably even have more than enough time, but I didn't want to cut it super close. But we could maybe even be ready on the 15th. I probably won't push the launch date, though. I'll probably just add in more stuff. Maybe one of the other things we add would be music. Actually, probably this stuff. All right, never mind. Maybe we don't have enough time. We will get there. Oh, forgot to leave a message. Okay, cool. Yeah, I had a note to myself to follow up with you on that. So I can delete it then. All right, so get adventurer from entity now exists, which means we can use it in this. Adventurer, question mark, adventurer. We don't need any of this stuff. And then if adventurer equals null, return. And if they're not null, then set this. Cool. In fact, we could just do this here and save a line. I don't think it impacts readability or anything. Okay, so that's register player damage dealt. Now we need register player healing dealt. Source and amount. This is pretty much exactly the same thing. We just replace this with healing. Easy. Great. Okay, so now we copy this into the heal function. So if modified amount is greater than 0 and the source team is the player. Actually, we don't even need to worry about this, right? I guess it would help. Source team. Yeah, target team doesn't matter. You can't heal the enemy. Well, not yet, you can't. I guess if there's some sort of confusion effect. Yeah. This is one of those weird cases where it's like, okay, we don't have a confusion effect, and maybe we never add one. But if we do add one, we're almost certainly going to forget to update this code. And it's still technically correct to just keep track of the target team here and just make sure that the target team is also equal to the player. Like, this is fine. This isn't technically dead code. It just doesn't really have a reason to exist. I'm going to leave it like this. I think it's fine. All right, so this is register player healing dealt. And this is fine. Yeah. And then we just go propagate this into battle stats. And then write all the stuff that we had. So adventurer DPS, we're also going to have adventurer healing. And when we make a battle stats, we're going to put in adventurer healing. Healing by class. Good. Healing by class. That's fine. This should know what to do. Yeah. This is actually wrong. Yeah, this isn't even correct. It should just be exactly what we had here. Oh, man. I didn't think about this. Okay, so we track DPS. Should we track heal per second? I guess. I guess the total numbers don't mean anything unless you know the life values. Well, that is another problem, right? We don't know life values. That sucks. There's also no way to normalize life values. Even if you turn them into percentages, 10% of the warrior's life is different from 10% of the cleric's life. But yeah, I don't want to have to normalize for duration. So I guess we do set this as healing per second, which means I should probably rename this to HPS by class. And this is divided by time elapsed. Oh, I already called it HP. Oh, no, I didn't. That was what I just did right now. All right, so healing dealt. We pass that in. We rename this. Adventurer HPS. And then we go change all this stuff. I guess H. And then write all this stuff in here. All right. HPS. Cool. And now, why is it not finding the other one of these? Oh, I only changed. I didn't change them all. Got it. All right, now we put this in here. So DPS can be replaced with HPS. Okay, let's try it and see if it works. Something kind of interesting here is, well, maybe should we keep track of overheal as well? It means that healing wasn't effective. I don't know. There's just too much to figure out. So we're gonna put the cleric and the warrior into a battle. They're gonna die. There's no way they can win this. But we should see some healing stats. Cleric, HPS 1.3. Yeah, this has to be broken. There's no way this is oh wait, there is a way this is exactly the same. Because maybe Resonant Healing has a 1 power ratio. Heal conversion percent. That is not 1. Okay, then this is probably broken. What went wrong? Register player healing dealt. Adventurer healing dealt. Oh, there's the problem. Got it. So for the cleric, these should always, well, not always, but they should pretty much be a 0.4 to 1 ratio. So we're going to just do the exact same thing we just did. Oh, I guess we need to unlock all the locations. Those two. Yeah. Now we wait. It's still, that can't be correct. Is there another problem somewhere? Huh. Damage dealt. Yeah, that's all fine. What about the battle stat? Let's get that set to 0. Oh, that's why. Sometimes. There. Line 338. I know I just nudged a bunch of things downward. Probably one of these. No, I think this stuff was fine. Hey, Moogle. All right, how are we doing now? Line 342. Oh, there's still a problem? Ah, yes. This actually doesn't even exist with healing, but yes, this is a problem. There you go, Moogle. All right, did it print out? Yes, it did. So warrior has 0 healing, and yeah, that makes sense. And the cleric has a very, very tiny amount of healing. Oh my god. All right, so the warrior's DPS on average is 10. The cleric, if you average out their healing and their damage, is still only 4.6. So if you just consider that stuff, it'd be half as effective, but it also has a haste buff. But I feel like we should just buff the damage on the cleric or buff the healing. I don't know. I don't want the cleric to feel worthless. I think they kind of suck. Let's try just the cleric. What level are they? No, they're already too high. You restart this and not have them be that high. I need to unlock all the locations by default, though. That's the next thing I got to do. Unlock all locations. Wait, I already wrote a function for that, didn't I? Because if I did, then we can just call unlock all locations. No, I did not. How does grant most things do that? Oh, there it is. I did write a function. Okay. So, cleric, you go fight 100 battles. Report back. How long have I been using this type of keyboard? I want to say 3 years. And I've been using it, I mean, pretty much every day. It's not entirely true because sometimes I wasn't at home. Sometimes I was using a laptop. But in general, I think pretty much all of the work I've done has been on a keyboard like this for the last 3 years. All right. The cleric can't even beat a level 1 battle. Oh, that's sad. I think that's a balance problem. I think we need to just fix that, right? And there are 2 ways we could fix it. One is increase healing, one is increase damage. I guess technically we could increase both. Was it out of curiosity or is it better in any way? So the way that it's better is that your fingers are always at most 1 unit away from whatever you need to type. So I don't have to move my hand very much to press any of the keys. But if you think about a regular keyboard, I'm not going to pick it up off the floor, but if you think about a regular keyboard, you probably have to move your hands pretty far to press all the keys on that keyboard. So my thinking was, okay, less hand movement is probably less strain, but also it's probably higher accuracy. Like, how many times have you pressed backspace and then afterward you press the wrong key? Whereas for me, my hands, like, look at this. If I'm typing something, and then I press backspace, my hands are there already. And I can just type something again and delete it and type it again and delete it and type it again. So it's just so little hand movement that I thought that looks appealing. Let's try that out. All right, I'm not super concerned about the cleric being able to win these battles, but I do think that they should be a little bit stronger. So I'm going to say start balancing characters. The cleric is terrible. But they're one of the only healers. So they're probably still important in party battles. I almost want to give them a hidden buff that says when they're on their own, they do triple damage or something. But I think we should just balance them properly. All right, what do we do here? We keep track of a bunch of extra stats. And output them, yeah. Keep track of healing. Yep. Pretty good. Yep. Yep. And yeah. All right, this one we can check it on its own. Unlock all locations when simulating battles. And then track more simulation stats. Track min and max values in a lot of cases. Track healing per second. Done by each adventurer. All right. All right. So how are we going to do this? How about we get some baselines for all the different characters to start with and just recognize who's better right out of the gate? Not that it necessarily matters, but I wonder if we'll just, I think the cleric is going to be the worst, like by far the worst. And then maybe the warrior and then maybe the paladin. So let's try that. This is, I can't tell you how many times I'm going to forget to do that. Almost to the point where we probably should just enable this through the debug menu. You really care balance that the healer on its own loses? To me, it's expected. I think it's not bad, and we have the flee button in the game. But if we could just at least let them beat the first battle, that would probably be helpful. Well, some of their effects are divided over the party members, so alone it would not divide, hence the individual buff. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't want to change the abilities function too much if we can avoid it. I just want to change some numbers if we can. So what I want to do here is start with the rogue. Let's get their baseline. You know, it would be kind of nice if this all saved to a file. Save all output to a file where we just keep appending and maybe even record when we've started the game again. When you get the cleric, you can already rank up. Yep, that's true. Yeah. Does it lose with some points? I'll have to check that out. So for now, I just want to look at DPS. And the rogue is very solidly at 6.8. So level 1 adventurers in the forest. 6.8 DPS, 62.9% life remaining. Oh, maybe the duration is also important. Let's keep track of that too. Duration is 15. I'm just going to round 15 seconds. This is stupid. Let's go to sheets.new. Let's just type this in there. So this will be the class, the pre-built tables. I don't need that. Duration, DPS, life remaining. And rename this to level 1 adventurers in the forest. Okay, so rogue 15, 6.8, 62.9. There we go. Balance stuff. Delete me. All right. That was a rogue. Let's do warrior next. Mage, paladin, witch doctor, archer, and what's the last one? Cleric. All right, warrior. What are your stats? Duration is 18.5. DPS is 5.8. Life remaining is 64.3. Huh. It's kind of interesting. I mean, it makes sense. They take less damage, but they also deal less damage. Okay, next up, mage. Where's the duration? There it is. 12.3. So this is the fastest class so far. 8.5 DPS. 70. Wow. I guess when you do more damage, you take less because the battle just doesn't last as long. Calling for the win rate. Yeah, it's true. All right, paladin is up next. Let me just shrink this window. In fact, let me just put this on the other screen. It's not like there's anything to look at. All right, paladin duration is 27 seconds. Your DPS is what, 4? Oh, man. Life remaining percent, 49.4. Win rate, still 100. All right, witch doctor's up next. And then I'll run the archer. So I'm not waiting for this thing. Oh, that finished very fast. Okay, how late do you normally stream? Normally I go for another about an hour or so, but today I'll probably go a little bit longer. All right, duration 21.5, 4.8, 79.9. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, the witch doctor has the most life left because they have summons, but those summons don't do a lot of damage, and they won every battle. All right, archer's next. Archer's already computed over here. Duration is 12.4 seconds. DPS is 8.7. I gotta stop doing that. 8.7. Life remaining is 73.4. Win rate 100%. Okay, and finally the cleric, which I think we already measured the stats, but I don't remember what they were. Cleric is probably going to lose all of the battles. Are they still running? Wow. What a bad class. The battles probably last forever because of the healing. Seriously. Yeah, wow. It did just last forever. 76.6 seconds. God, how stupid. DPS is 0.6. Life remaining is negative 1.3%. And they won 0 of the battles. Okay, so this is what I was saying, is that you can't necessarily tell that anything's wrong from this. You don't start with a cleric. You start with these classes. Can we move this? Cut and paste. Yeah, you start with these 2 classes. Hey, Juan. At least everyone's winning. But yeah, some of these are very long fights. The paladin is mostly a tank and a healer. The witch doctor's kind of a little bit of everything. Okay, well, let's start looking at the other instances. because I don't really care too much about the first one. I don't even know how we're going to track this stuff. It's going to be very difficult. Because what I want to do next is figure out who can beat the dungeon. I guess the only two classes you really have that we care about are the rogue and the mage. So let's try the rogue in the dungeon and the mage. Level 1 adventurers in the dungeon. Let's get the same thing over here. Need to automate running the same party setting in all the instances and dump everything into CSVs. I guess once they're level 7, I will need to do that. But at the beginning of the game, we need to test a couple of different levels. But yeah, maybe I should just have like a set of parties and it runs this. Yeah. I think some amount of automation makes sense for this. Okay. So do I have any outstanding changes right now? No. Allow for automating entire setups. All right, how do we do that? How do we do that? And then I guess once we're done with that, test characters in the dungeon. And do I care about this? Like these couple of stats, the battles either last 15 seconds or 12 seconds. That's not a big difference, but I mean, that is still a 3-second difference. I wonder if I should bring these more in line with one another. Just lower the mage's power level at level 1. Seems reasonable enough, right? Yeah. Consider lowering the mage's power or maybe just raise the rogues. Consider raising the rogue's power level at level 1 just slightly so that the first battles go faster. We still need them to feel like they're leveling up or getting more powerful as they level up. All right, automating this. We have start battles, so we just need to be able to call start battles from code and not from the user doing something. Walk to portal to start battle. Come on. All right, let's put a breakpoint there. Level 1's not very important since they can be ranked up early on. Yeah. I think cutting out the 3 seconds is probably a good idea, though. Because expecting you to watch a battle for a quarter of a minute when nothing's really happening in that battle is probably a little too much. All right, what am I doing? I'm clicking this button and then seeing what the call stack is. Yeah. So this is the call stack. Where does this come from? On shows instance party. Can we bypass any of this stuff? We'd have to immediately call into this. Start battle button. What was this for? I see. Just for the guild master tutorial thing. Yeah, I think we need to short circuit this. On show's instance party should just directly call into something that starts battles. Is there any problem with doing that? I don't think so. Yeah, and I think this will simplify the code quite a lot. Where can we do this then? Right from here. So town.cs is where we're going to put this code. So that's this, because you should ideally never get to this any other way. Let's see if that's true before I just start saying stuff. So far, yes. Oh God, there's like 4 of these. There won't be a way to do that. What about this one? Yep, won't be a way to do that. What about that one? Debug create instance. I guess technically you could do this, but we need to just not let you do that. And then there's this one. Yeah, cool. Okay. So then we can shortcut this here, I think. And on shows instance party. Anything else? Start instance, start battle. I think we could put this here. Yeah. Let's do that. All right, so if is simulating, then do this. We don't have a way of getting all the information we need. Okay, never mind. We got to put it here. All right, instance ID. Adventurers, player abilities, instance slot to use. The slot should be slot 0 or slot -1. We have it right here. I should just be able to see it. Yeah, it's -1. Perfect. All right. Well, well, well. Now we just need to figure out what we called this thing because it's not player abilities, apparently. Player abilities. Oh, it's capitalized. Errors when the simulation is enabled or hide or disable that button entirely. I think it would be a nice thing to do. I think I probably won't end up doing it. Start battles takes in what? The instances manager? For what reason? So that we can create instances? That makes sense. Do we have that? We do. Perfect. Yeah, this is great. So now we can delete all this stuff. Instance slot is null. I want to look at this code in main. What is this? Instances manager? Not the right instances manager. I want the CS. What's this called? Walk to portal. Here it is. Create walking to instance. That's null. Do something. Yeah. Nice. Probably go through it during the weekend to see small things that can be fixed. I don't think it's super important. You know what we can do is we can just try it now and see what the outcome is. Wait, why did I do this though? I did this so I could automate this. Yeah. Let's try right now. And then I'll get back to the automating bit. Oh, I meant to take a break half an hour ago. So much for the tenant, right? All right, so yeah, what happens if you press this button? I think it just makes an instance normally. Nope, it doesn't. Well, it might actually, but then I think it's gonna break something. No, I don't think it does anything. Yeah, we should probably just disable that. Debug menu. We don't have that specific button though. And yeah, I think we'll just cut that out. Debug create instance. If BattleSimulator is simulating. Perfect. So now it'll print out right there, bright red. Yeah, nice. I guess it's going to be pretty hard to see because it's going at 8x speed, but it's at least clear there's an error. All right. So yeah, we got to write some automation for this. Let me do this before I forget. All we should need to do is call this with a particular setup. Yeah, I do need to take a break. All right, let's do that. Yeah. Is it jump time? Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hey everybody, close the game. Okay, let's do this. We're gonna call this from here. Actually, I'm not sure we can call this from here. Set up town for battle simulations. Is this just like ready to go? I don't know, but I think if we put this stuff up here, then it will be. Yeah, let's try that out. Okay, so we're gonna start this with the forest. And the adventurers, we're gonna put in the rogue. How do we do that? Could have sworn I had a way of doing this somehow. Here it is. Uncomment this and customize the classes if you want specific ones. Yeah. All right, this was not available adventurers. It's just get adventurers. .to list. Actually, we don't even need the to list. We can just do .where. Okay, so we're gonna get the archer, I guess. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Not very smart though. No, maybe it's fine. I should probably just make a function that does this. Yeah, I'll write that down. Let's just do it. I like knowing that I actually want the code before I make it, but let's do it anyway. Read only list adventurer, get specific adventurers. Well, I guess a hash set of adventurer classes. Classes contains adventure component get adventure class. Yeah, cool. That's perfect. All right, so now we call get it specific adventurers, and we pass in the classes we want. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Mage, sure. Remove unused local variable. Yeah, so then we start here with those. And instance slot, I think, always needs to be -1. To the point where I'm not even sure it makes sense to pass this in. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Okay, so if we can get that to work, I guess we want to run a bunch of these in parallel, and we won't know that we can run other ones until we know that the original ones have finished. So we want to queue this somehow. Let me think about this. We could just keep track of all of the parameters to these things. Oh, the instances manager never changes. Yeah, we could keep track of all the parameters, and whenever one set finishes, we just start the next one. It's possible to find popcorn that's just salted and not also butter flavored. I feel like I've seen that in Costco. But I don't know if you mean like a gourmet popcorn. Although I did see gourmet popcorns at Pike Place. Actually, there were a bunch of like weird flavors too, weren't there? Let me see if I can find this. Cobb's Gourmet Popcorn. Where are their flavors? Salted caramel, brown butter and sea salt, cheddar cheese. No, whatever I'm thinking of had like super vibrant colors on their popcorn. Maybe it was this and I just can't find. No, it wasn't. It wasn't this place. Something else. I don't know what. Candy popcorn? I'm not actually certain what it was. Just regular popcorn. Yeah, probably a grocery store, right? Although I guess it's not that hard to just do it yourself. You could just buy a bunch of popcorn kernels. We're having some friends over this weekend, and one of them said that they will make popcorn. And I'm like, we don't even have kernels. They're like, oh, I'll bring everything. All right, so do we queue this is what Monadic Mind was trying to get us to not do. Or do we just return when this thing is done and have the caller queue it? I think we can just queue this. Yeah. All right, private static list. I guess there's a list of everything. Instance manager, instance ID, battles to start, or like configurations, queued configurations. Okay, so all this is really going to do, I guess, is queue a configuration. Public static void queue battle configuration. Good. And then I guess we check to see if we can start a battle. Check like process queue. Yeah. Lava call. What the heck is that? What is this? It's seasoning salt? Oh. What's in it? Oh, there it is. Salt, natural and artificial flavors, and some food coloring. 827 servings per container. I don't know if I've seen that before. Possible to store a clone of the current class state. You'd then run like 100 of those at once. Yeah, we could with this configuration thing. Yeah. But if we're going to run 100 of something at once, I mean, we could just increase the number of battles that run. Yeah, this is just set to 100. We could just set that to 10,000. It would take a little bit longer, but we'd get our results. Because it's not like we'd be doing anything different. I guess we'd just be changing how many things are running in parallel. Yeah. I mean, like instead of queuing, you change the clone. I do not follow. But what I'm picturing doing is something like this, where we say queue battle configuration of, hang on, what's on my clipboard? I want to get this off of there. Yeah. We queue this, and this is running the forest with the mage. Then we're like, right after that, whenever that's done, run it with the rogue. And that way we can compare a couple of different parties. Could you thread this at all? It's running through Godot for all of this because everything is based on like still making the same nodes and everything. It's just not rendering that stuff. I guess there's a problem with this, which is that we haven't leveled up any of the adventurers, which we're going to have to do next. Allow for leveling up adventurers and training specific skills. Need to increase the max rank if we do this. All right, anyway, let's keep going into this. So process queue, we need that function. Private static void process queue. So if there is nothing in the queue, then we have nothing to do. If there's something in the queue and we're already running battles, private static bool is running battles. Yeah. Otherwise, we get a configuration, we remove it, we start battles with that. Cool, sounds good. Now, when we're done with a whole bunch of battles, process results, and then process the queue. Perfect, make this read only. That's, I guess, true. This is never set to true. Start battle needs to set it to true. And then I guess when it's done, we need to set that back to false. Cool. Although I guess the only place you can process the queue is here. But anyway, it's fine. Read-only fields should appear before non-read-only fields. I don't know where that puts it here. Apparently. Okay, so if we just run this, we should see the mage results and then the rogue results. There's an error here, though. Well, it looks like there's an error. Ah, that's why. Oh, this isn't even what this is called anymore. It's queue battle configuration. And then start battle should be made private. Yeah. All right, let's try it. All we're checking is that without me touching the keyboard again, we should be able to see, well, I need to touch this to be able to look at VS Code, but we should be able to see the mage and the rogue battles. Nice. Cool. And then where is the battle simulator? Yeah, we print out this again at the end. I think we need to also print a new line before this. Ever get that feeling when you watch someone do something like code, it makes you excited and want to code too? Yeah. I think we're just naturally influenced by the things that people do around us. Hey, Pikey. Haven't tuned in forever. Just saw the first premise of a game. Would you mind showing and explaining the current state? Yeah, sure. First, let me check though. Yeah, last time you were here was August 14th, 2019. Anyway, let me turn off a couple things and I can show this to you. And for anyone who hasn't seen the game and is curious about it, please do pay attention now, because I don't tend to do this a whole lot. So this is Skeleseller. It's a very laid-back, casual game. It's not supposed to be super hardcore, have super intense decisions or anything. You are running a town. You are technically that skeleton character, but I'm not directly controlling this character. And you hire adventurers. So here we have a rogue. We could also hire another one if we had the money, which I guess technically we do. And you send them into battle. So I'm going to click start battle here. The rogue goes in, starts battling a bat. This is just automated. So they're using the abilities they have. And when they win that fight, they produce some items. And those items can be put into your shops that you have. And then customers, like this character, can go over and buy them. And they have sort of realistic behavior now. So they don't always just immediately run to the item. But yeah, this one's finally going over there and buying it. And then with that money, you can build out your town. So eventually you can build out different shops and different buildings, and you can upgrade your adventurers. So I can train for 30 gold. That train is not super legible. Anyway, what we've been working on has been the balance simulator. So as mentioned, you can train your adventurers. So how do we know that the warrior at level 7 is the same power level as something else at level 7? And that they're even effective, or that these abilities are doing anything different? So that's going to be somewhat tough. In fact, one of the things that would probably be nice to test is 2 different builds side by side. Did you get new font styles? Yeah. I think there's 1 new font used in this, but possibly 2. I don't fully remember. Need to be able to test 2 different ability configurations side by side. That way we can see if abilities are having any real impact on the battle. Reminds me of the gameplay of Game Dev Story. Check contrast for text. I think I have that written down somewhere. Contrast checker. Well, I'm pretty sure I have it written down somewhere. Yeah. I just haven't used it yet. Okay, so balance simulator, back to simulating. We now have the ability to automate this scenario. Change return type to a collection for improved performance. Sure. There is no to collection. This just returns an I enumerable right now. Cannot convert from a list to a collection. How do you get this into a collection like this? Ah. Change return type from... Oh, that was already done. I don't like how it shows the same thing twice. Did it build? I don't even know. I think it did. Today's been pretty good. This has all been moving forward nicely enough. I just still haven't really done any of the work, but I keep saying we're getting there. Added the BattleSimulator so that we can finally balance stats and abilities. So get specific adventurers is how we want to call this now. And that MD file that I had opened, can use that instead. Adventurers equals get specific adventurers. Yeah. Oh, this is in the town though. Why did I do this? This is helpful if you're testing a boss, for instance. And don't want to have to pick the location / adventurers each time. Yeah, the thing I said isn't going to be doable. Yeah, sure. Okay, whatever. All right. So I think we check this in, then we start working on, oh, well, no, I could use this already to test them in the dungeon. So let's go test them in the dungeon. And I just want to compare their stats. So this should be pretty straightforward. I'm not certain that they'll both win. Who is this? The mage. The mage won 44%. The rogue won 19%. So they don't win. Which is actually a good thing. Because this should make you level up. But now we need to go test leveling up. So let's write this down. This is just add a comment to a documentation file. Did you also make the assets? No. Never learned how to do that. All right, cut this out. Everything else should be good. This allows for queuing battles. Yep. This is nice. And this is good too. And I'll leave this commented out. So allow for queuing battles in the simulator. Now you can automate scenarios, e.g. test the dungeon with 3 different parties. And the battle simulator will just automatically run all of the scenarios until it's done. Hey, Woodgut. This is, well, it's kind of fun to make the system actually, but I think the actual balancing is going to be really, really tedious. Oh, this will only work if I keep this here. Okay. Modify this to change the scenario being automated. Okay. Commit that. Next is the tough part. Although maybe it's not. I guess it all depends on how I coded this. So we still need to test characters in the dungeon. At level 1, the mage had a 44% chance to win. And the rogue had a 19% chance. At least I think so. Yeah. Okay, leveling up adventurers and training specific skills. I don't think it ever makes sense for us to test different level adventurers. I think it just makes sense to level them all up at once, because if you can level any of them up, it means you can level all of them up. So as a player, you will be very much incentivized to level them all up. So how do we level up any of them? Grant most things. Level up adventures. There it is. Level up adventures. Update available skill points. Update selected character. Level up each adventurer to the max. I don't want to level them to the max though. I think what we should do is just take in a variable or take in a parameter here and have it specify how many levels you want to increase their level by, or maybe set their level to a particular level. Yeah. Int level to set adventures to equals game constants dot max adventure level. All right, now level to set equals math dot min. So we can't let it go beyond the max level because you might have passed in 10 or something. And then the number of levels needed is this minus the current level. And that might be negative. In which case, I guess we need to check. Then update that stuff. Yeah, none of that stuff matters. This might matter. I don't know what this even does. Only the skill tree cares. And what does that do? Update tooltip and level up adventure button. This is the skill tree. What do we do here? We call update selected character. Why don't we do that? Huh, interesting. I feel like this shouldn't be here. Yep, definitely feel like this shouldn't be here. Okay, well, let's just write that down for later. I don't think town should be calling this manually because there's already a signal, so just put it there. Checking in the for already. Oh yeah, you're right. For some reason in my head, I thought this will run infinitely, but it won't run at all. Okay. Yeah, cool. So this should be the same. And now this is going to be different. So we're going to level up all the adventurers to 2. Let's just do that and see what happens. And then I guess run this for the mage and the rogue still. This is the tiniest of stat bumps. Like if you look at this, the rogue at level 1 has 12 power and at level 2 has 13. Also, I think they get 5 more life. So like it will raise the win rate probably by 1 or 2%, maybe slightly more. Let's see. The mage was at 44%. Although we only did 1 trial, so maybe there's some variance anyway. Wow, they went up to 71%. And the rogues went up to 32%. Wow. So they went up by 27% and 13%. They practically both doubled. Well, I guess a couple of stat points do make a difference. But we have not assigned a skill point yet. And this is where things get fun. What are your plans for balancing? Do you have an idea of how to measure how balanced your game is? It's really hard to answer this question because I think we need to treat this like we're a player and know what we have available to us at a given time and figure out like what are the likelihoods that we win a battle. There aren't that many choices you can make in the game. And I think that's what's really important to realize here. I think I have it written down in the balance section, not there. Here maybe. No. All right, well, it's probably worth writing this somewhere. Yeah, it's probably worth writing this somewhere. Player inputs. Remember that since battles are automated, the only things the player can do to affect battles are level up adventurers. We can always assume that players will have each adventurer at the max level eventually, the current max level eventually. 2 is change skill point allocation. 3 is change party composition. And 4 is to change enchants. I don't think there's anything else you can do for a particular location. Yeah, no. You could technically change locations as well. But if you can't beat a given location, then this won't help. Because these are the only things that affect the power of your party. And like I said, since this is a given, the only real choices you have that other people might not make the same way as you did would be these 3. You can change what your skills are, you can change your party composition, and you can change which enchants you have. What you want is a skill tree that's balanced, nodes at certain depth, all reach average probabilities of winning battles. That way no skills are overpowered. I don't think that's what you want ideally. And I don't think almost any game wants that. And the reason why is because I think like slightly different power levels are desirable. But also I would say it as like different play styles and different, I don't know, different like sort of rough edges almost. I think the newest Smash Bros. Game, Smash Bros. Ultimate, did this incredibly well. Apparently, online, all of the different fighters, and there are 75 of them or whatever, all of them have within like 5 or 10% of the same win rate as all the other ones. And yet they all play wildly differently. And the community has rated them in terms of power level. Those are all different too. But at the player base at large, they're all pretty much the same power level. For pros, yes, very different. For complete novices, maybe a little different. Yeah, average player has a pretty good chance of winning with any character. And those characters are not all like super balanced and yeah. So I think it's the same thing for this game, but especially because it's a single player game, it's like, hey, maybe you find a combination that's more powerful. And if you want to use that, then cool. I think that is one of the risks of this game is that if you find a powerful combination and it never changes in power level, that you just use it the entire game. But maybe that's fine. Maybe you're still having fun doing that. Because the battle system is just one part of this, and then there's also the whole town management stuff. Any character can win. Does that always fall off by mistake? Unless they fall off faster. Hey, Ross. All right. So we don't have a way of granting abilities, right? At least I don't think so. Did I ever write this down? Ah, we have it for this. There's modify ability level. Can we set this back down to 0? We must be able to. Which means this really shouldn't be that bad. I wonder, I think here's how we should ideally do this. We should have some like abilities component dot set ability levels and pass in a dictionary. How do we do this? I guess it looks something like this. I don't know. Be like ability ID. Maybe they should just be pairs. Yeah, maybe that's better. Maybe it looks something like this. Ability ID dot quicker strike level 1. And anything that's not set through here would just have level 0, I guess. Stealth. Let's try this and just see if this will work. I don't even have this function, but we can go make it. Oh, what am I doing? I forgot to pass in an entity. Oh my God. We got to pass it in. We got to get a specific adventure. What am I doing? All right. Well, let's go do that. Is there a Git adventurer? Ah, there is. We want the rogue. And then we want this function to exist. So public static void set ability, blah, blah, blah. This is going to be node entity. And I was hoping it would give me the type of this. I guess this is just a list of lists of tuples, or a list of tuples. Probably better just do that. All right, so read only list of ability ID, int level. Values. Sure. Isn't it modify ability level? Yeah, that was pretty easy. Okay. Yeah, the only thing we need to do though is set all the existing ones down to 0. And I think that might mean deleting one of them. Get level, set ability, get ability to default, modify level. So yeah, we go through each existing ability and we set it to level 0. Okay, so for each base ability in abilities, modify ability level. What does modify do? Does it set it to that level? Delta. Oh, drat. That's not what I wanted. 0, it just deletes it. Oh, interesting. Cool. Yeah, we need a set ability level. There is no set, is there? Wait. Nope, that's what I'm writing. Okay, yeah, there's no set. Got an auto battle implemented already. How about using that to get a rough idea of how balanced your game is? Generate possible skill combinations. Yeah, so that's one idea that I had. This is essentially, if you think about it, it's essentially fuzz testing. So for those who don't know, imagine you've got a function like this, int sum, int x, int y, return x plus y. So really simple. This clearly is, it's working how we would want it to work. And if you were to fuzz test this, you might just call it with pretty much like random numbers here. You'd call it like this, you'd call it like this, you'd call it with all sorts of different things that you might think of. Except the way you want to test this is typically with equivalence classes. So like, does it work with negative numbers? Does it work with positive numbers? Does it work with really large numbers? And this can't accept floating point numbers, but if it did, does it work with floating point numbers? Does it work with whatever? There's a whole bunch of different things you would consider for this, but there wouldn't be that many different tests within these classes. So if you've tested -2 plus -3, then you've pretty much tested -2 plus -4. Anyway, what that has to do with this is that I think there are going to be large combinations of skills or classes that just kind of don't make sense or fall into the same equivalence class. And I don't know that for sure, but I wonder if we were to code a random test that just like level up all your adventurers to 3, pick 2 of them, pick 2 abilities for them, and let them go. I wonder whether we'd see some major power outliers. But I think it is a good idea to try. Okay, so we don't need a modify ability level. We need a set ability level. Public void set ability level. Ability. It should just know how to do this entire function based on how I wrote the other thing. I'm not even going to trust this or read this. I'm just going to copy this over. So this is the ability. This checks the delta. This sets level plus equal delta. Okay. Let's copy this entire thing in here. So get the ability. If the ability is null and the level is less than or equal to, well, I guess if it's equal to 0, and maybe we just say here level equals math.max 0 level. Or maybe No, that's fine. Okay, so if the ability is null, create it, set its level to 0. Then for whatever reason we said plus equal delta. I don't know why we would do that. Oh, because this also works on subtracting them. Ah, okay, so we could just set this equal to the level that we want. And then if the ability level is 0, then remove it. I mean, could have just done this up here, right? No, I guess not. No, we could have done it here. Yeah, sure. If level is 0, if the ability is null, then that's a problem. And if it's not null, then just remove it. So that gets rid of this. And now if the level is anything but 0, make sure the ability exists. And then regardless, set its level. Okay. So here with a genetic algorithm to converge on the interesting school combinations quickly. Yeah, you probably would. And I think that's an interesting idea. I don't know how much we're going to do toward this. The other thing that's nice, by the way, is I guess there are sort of two general kinds of balance testing. There's the dev testing and there's the player testing. And we don't necessarily need to do all of the testing. We already had people who reported overpowered builds or underpowered builds. But yeah, maybe through this testing, we find some overpowered stuff ourselves. I do think there is that interesting question that I said, though. Like, let's say, for whatever reason, the rogue, warrior, and cleric is the most powerful at level 1. If they're also the most powerful at levels 2 to 7, is that a problem? It would mean you'd never have to change your party. I guess you would have to find the skills that make them powerful as a combo, though. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see. And that's the reason we're doing all these checkpoints and everything. All right, so now modify ability level can just call set ability level. So get the ability. If the ability doesn't exist, actually, we could just say get level of ability. Current level equals this. Why do we do this, though? Well, like, where do we ever call modify level that we don't just want to... That's the new thing I just added. This is to change the amount by 1. Yeah, fine. Doesn't matter. It's fine. It's fine to have this. I don't mind. All right, so now we say set ability level is that. You want to run battles in parallel reliably, so you're most likely not optimizing for one single party. That's true. You do have different incentives as a player. It's not always that you're focused on maximum progress. It could be maximum items, in which case maybe you don't want the healer at all in your party, or maybe you want to lower downtime. Anyway, I think this is what's really good about the landscape we've set up for the game. Even though the player only has those 3 inputs that I mentioned, there are other considerations. I should probably write that down. However, even though there are relatively few inputs, there are still other considerations in the game. Maybe you want to minimize downtime between battles by taking tanky or healy characters. Maybe you want to get lots of items quickly, in which case you do lower level instances with just damage dealers. And maybe you, I don't know, want a balance of those things. We're ignoring the enchanter for now, yes. Yeah. Okay. So now that we have that, this needs to call set ability level. And this needs to call set ability level. So yeah, I guess we could make a reset all abilities. We got the abilities component. Reset all, or delete, remove all abilities. Isn't this just saying remove all? If the ability level is 0, just remove them all. Yeah, abilities not clear. Do I already have this somewhere? It's public. But no, nothing ever modifies it. No, yeah, nothing modifies it. All right. Well, that's the first thing this thing can do. Remove all abilities. And then set the ability level. Let's try it out. Oh yeah, it has a private set. Good call. I didn't even need to check that. Hardest part of game dev is assets, and no one will change my mind on that. Just wait until you get to balance. They're gonna be like, wow, assets were easy. All right, this did not work. Yeah, this did not work. What went wrong here? Index was out of range, must be non-negative and less than the size of the collection. Get ability by index on abilities component line 112. What does it mean? Oh. Oh, whoops. Removing all abilities is incredibly dumb because it's deleting even quick strike and execute and everything. Whoops. Oh man, what do we do then? We give them ability IDs and then skill table, and through the table they can learn things. So I guess the abilities need to know if they're just given abilities. Can't find good assets. Have you looked on itch? Can you fetch the adventure data and use that to regenerate the base state? Yes, I could. Good idea. In fact, that's probably how we did this in the first place, right? Yes, we did. Yeah, so let me think about this. First of all, I'm going to write this here. Be very careful about calling this. For adventurers, it will remove even their given abilities, like quick strike on a rogue. All right, so where are we doing this from then? Set ability levels. We need this thing to be aware that this is a rogue so that it can give them the abilities back. This is ridiculous. Where would we do this? Just needs to exist somewhere. I don't have any like abilities function thing. I think abilities component is probably fine. Maybe then we say that we're only doing this for a particular an adventurer, maybe. Set adventurer ability levels. I could get the class from there, but that assumes that it has to be an adventurer, I think. Well, it doesn't necessarily assume it. I guess if it were an adventurer, although they're the only ones with abilities. So I'll just say it's an adventurer. Maybe that's not smart. The adventure itself doesn't know anything else about it, does it? This is kind of dumb. Yeah, this is kind of dumb. We'll just have it be entity. Okay. So how about we just delete its abilities component? Oh man. Remove component. Abilities component. There we go. Now we got to make a new one. Don't we have a create from a... Oh, we do. Yeah, here. All right, adventure data. We need to know that now. Component. I guess we'll spell this one out. Adventure component. Get component or null. And then if it is not null, then we're going to make... We're going to add this, I guess. Yeah, and get the adventure data. All right. Now what's the problem here? Just get. Okay, so this removes their component. Then we need to add a component to them. Actually, do we? We don't. We could just do this. Otherwise, we could remove all the abilities that they have. Yeah. AC here would be equal to get their abilities component and remove them all. All right. I think I've done it. Now let's just swap this. So this one's... There we go. Did not mean to grab the curly brace. So what are we doing here? If it's not an adventurer, just wipe out all its abilities. If it is an adventurer, then delete its component and then create a new one. Yeah, should work. So here's how we'll know if this worked, because the rogue will have a couple of points in something in the skill tree. If we see that, then we're good. They do not. Why don't they? Oh, God. That's... Wait a sec. No, that's the new abilities. Wait a sec. So do I just need to change classes and change back? I do. Okay, I guess all we needed to do is update the skill tree, which is what should have happened in like player granted points or something. Update selected character, this thing. This shouldn't exist here though. Oh God, there's no signal for this. Leveled up in both cases? Seriously? Oh, because we don't know that there's a selected character? Please tell me we can just figure that out. Leveled up. This is it? Yeah, this is it. The tooltip. We can get the selected adventurer. I don't even understand. Why wouldn't we just update the selected character? Who cares? Yeah, there, done. Now we delete this. Update selected character. We delete this. This still isn't going to work because we update the ability levels after leveling them up, which technically we could just do it in the other order. And then that would fix everything. At least I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it worked. Check it out. Quicker strike and 2 points in stealth. And the character is level 2. I'm guessing by having skill points in, their win rate, yeah, it drastically went up. It went from 32% to 85%. Technically, this is too powerful for their level. They should only have 1 skill point, but I wanted to test this out. So if you can only have 1 skill point, you can either pick stealth or you can pick quicker strike. Which ones do we pick? And this is what's kind of interesting. We can just pick them both. Although now that I think about it, I guess we're going to need to update the skill tree. Anytime we call this function. Yeah. Skill tree dot update selected character. Reflect the skills added here. Oh, wait a sec. Oh my God, this won't work because of the way we queue battles. We got to queue them with abilities. What I was going to do is I was going to run a battle with the rogue and then change the abilities and then run another battle with the rogue. So basically what I wanted to see is which skill is better, but we can't do that. There are two options we have. Option number one, make the battle simulator async and just wait for it to be done so we can queue another battle, or so we can run another battle. And option number two is to pass in the ability data and set it in the battle simulator. I think I prefer option number two, but it's going to be very tedious because we've got to pass in all of the information for all of the classes. Time to read the JSON file. I don't even know if I want to do that. Let me think about this. We pass in the adventure class. We could just pass in this dictionary of stuff to change and the level that we want them to be at. Reflecting the skills you have isn't even really important because it's going to change after every single battle. So yeah, I think we're going to change this to be something like this. We pass in a dictionary. Make the configuration a record. It may be nicer to construct. Yeah, we could potentially do that. All right, let's save this over in battles. We'll pass this in as like BattleSimulator configuration. This gets stored what in battles? Yeah. All right, so what makes a configuration? It is the location, instance ID. It is the adventures you want to use. Yeah. It's their, that's not part of it. Although if player abilities ever do affect the battles, which I don't think any of them do right now, but they might in the future, then that could be a problem. But yeah, then all the skill information. So I guess that would be a dictionary of adventurer class to a list of tuples representing the levels that we want. It's quite the type. I should probably just make another type out of this. This is ability levels or abilities. Adventurer skill loadouts. That's probably better. Adventurer rank. I was thinking you would just set that at the very beginning. Because I don't think you can down level an adventurer. Although we could code that. Why is this not giving me the thing I want? There it is. This is taking so long. Why won't that dialogue pop up? Okay, got it. So this is a battle simulator configuration, which is what we're going to pass into this. We have the adventurers, the instance ID. Got it. Pass that in here, configuration. Cool. Something else that's missing here. Yeah, this. Cannot deconstruct. Good. Now when you start a battle, you start it with the instance ID, the adventurers, and to do use configuration dot skill loadouts. There's one other piece that's missing somewhere. I don't know where it is. No, maybe I got it. Although start battles could just take in the configuration, right? Create instance with this stuff. Doesn't it have to? Yes, it has to. Yeah, this is just a configuration. Okay. And what am I missing? Instance ID, configuration adventurers, last used adventurers. This should be like last used configuration. What is this even for? Yeah, this should be last used configuration. Oh, nice. Last configuration. Make field read only. Won't be needed in a sec. Last used adventurers. Here it is. Good. And there was a to-do item down here that we still need to apply. Great. All right. I think we're maybe looking a little better. Now we need to make a configuration out of these things. So new instance ID. Adventurers. And finally the skill dictionary, which I assume is going to be very obnoxious to construct. I don't even know how we're supposed to do this. Oh wait, no, it's not. What is a dictionary? Yeah. Well, let's try it. So the rogue, I don't know the syntax for this. Didn't we do this here? We said new and then something equals something else. Equals a new something else. And in this case, it is a read-only list of ability level and data. Yeah. So we should be able to just plug this in, right? Oh my God, it worked. Oh man. All right. Oh, and then we need this function. I should just get rid of this. I do not like this parameter spans multiple lines thing. It's bitten me in a bunch of different places. It's not worth keeping. All right, here's where we do this now. So for each, I want to get all of the skill loadouts. I guess we could just say for each var pair in that. Do this. We need to get the adventurer though. Configuration.adventurers.where drop where. Cool. We're getting there. We're slowly getting there. This is so ridiculous. All right. There we go. Comparative tuple. I want to make at least a property out of this or a type out of this. Which we could probably just make it right in here, couldn't we? Read only, record, struct. I won't worry about it yet. I do want to get rid of this. I want to suppress this in the entire code base. What is that? Editor config? Yeah, and what is this one called? 1118. 1118. Right there. Oh, wait, no, that's not SA. This is. All right, what's the name of that? The parameter spans multiple lines. This is just annoying with how the auto formatter works. It'll force the parameters on multiple lines. Okay, can we run it? Actually, you know what we should do? We should set the skills to be more powerful at the beginning and then run a configuration and then make them less powerful and see if it properly updated the skills. Oh, what am I doing? That's not how you do that. Delete this stuff. Yeah, what I meant to do is change these. Well, it didn't work anyway. So there. Name last adventure is used. Yeah, we don't have this anymore. I guess it's the last configuration. Dot adventures. Get adventure class. Yeah. Oh, we have the same thing over here. Get the adventure of a particular class. It's a lot of work going into this. I think this is at least a better balance simulator than what we had in Idle Ascendance. What's the problem here? This is that I'm not making a configuration properly. Oh. We need to allow that thing to be null, which is just to have a manual configuration. New. There's no argument given for the last thing, yeah. It's a little weird, but I think it should work. And then when we use the skill loadouts, yeah, this could be null. So if it's null, if it's not null, just do something with it. If it is null, yeah. So I just want this. Yeah, I'll write this down. If this isn't defined, use the skill loadout that the player manually set through the skill tree. Okay, will this work? This was quite a lot. And I'm glad at least that a lot of the complexity is inside here. But yeah, where do we stand now? We stand in it doesn't work territory. Cannot decrease level of an ability that doesn't exist. That should never happen. Line 141. Set ability level. Let's just put a breakpoint here. Okay. So what's the call stack? Set ability levels. One of these is set to 0. Oh, I manually specified 0? Why would I do that? That's not smart. Yeah, that's not smart. I should probably allow for it to be 0 and just, what would I do in that case? I don't know. How helpful is this throw? Because we could just ignore it. Yeah, I did put zeros explicitly. And I'm thinking one thing I could do is I could just get rid of the zeros, which would then be passing in nothing for this. And the other thing I could do is allow zeros to be interpreted. Ignore it in simulations. Yeah, that's, I guess, the third thing is conditionally ignore it. But in thinking about it now, is there a problem with trying to set it to 0 when it was already 0? I don't think so. I think we can just delete this and just change this to not equals. Is there a breakpoint there anymore? I can't tell. Just delete it down there. Okay, let's try that now. Is it working? It did work. Wow, look at that. Yeah, we started and we had level 2 quicker strike and level 2 stealth. We should probably ignore the abilities to print out from here and just show the customized abilities. But ignoring that, then when we got rid of the abilities, our win rate dropped by 67%. How much did our DPS change by? It went from 15.2 down to 7.3. Interesting. Remember when it was just a square? Now it's a lot of squares. A lot of triangles. You can now print only the ones in the configuration. That's true. Yeah. Good call. Why pair programming is good. Also, I'm going to give you a point, Kevin. All right, so where do we print the skills? Right here. And instead, what we want to do is we want to print out I guess private static void get configuration abilities string. What does this try to do? Yeah, how about this? If it's equal to null, say no skills customized or all skills level 0. Otherwise, go through each one. I don't want a new line here. I want it to look sort of like what a base ability looked like. Just display name and level. Getting the display name is going to be annoying, isn't it? Man. All right, well, we do this somewhere. Oh, no, we can get it through ability data, can't we? No, we can't. All right, well, that's... Oh, we need to pass in the class as well? So yeah, if this is null, set it to that. Otherwise, I don't want to go through each of these. I just want to get their list. Loadout equals that. All right, delete all that. Go through each ability. Actually, the ability ID might be enough, but I'd like to get the display name. Yeah. We're getting there. Okay. Base ability equals... I don't know how you even do this. Is there an ability create? There has to be. There's clone. Activator.create instance. Do I not have a git? I probably don't. Oh, wait, what's this? I do have a git. I forgot. All right, well, then there's a git and then display name. Easy. There. All right, then return that string. We don't need these here. We do need that, and we need this to be string.empty. All right, I think we're good. This turns into a string. And now we just use it over here. Abilities string. Remove unused variable. We needed that originally so we could get the abilities component, and now we don't need it. Okay. The only thing I don't like about all of this is I don't want this code in town. Yeah, the actual running of the simulation should be somewhere else. I'll write it to do so I don't forget that. It's not even this entire function. This stuff can all stay. This stuff should not be here. Move the code from here downward into some other function and just call that from here. All right, did it work? This prints zeros. Oh, well, that's not right. Although, I mean, I guess I specified 0. Maybe we should only show the ones that have a level greater than 0. Level greater than 0, then do that. Yeah. All right, then a space after this. Now we should be looking good. Yeah, I think putting it in Battle Simulator makes the most sense. That way all of the code is in here. And we could even keep scenarios and run them. So town could say like run the dungeon scenarios, run the whatever else scenarios. Then eventually we could put those in JSON files if we want. So what's happening now? We're running with Quicker Strike 2 and Stealth 2. I'd like to have a comma before these, which is really nitpicky. Yeah, string.join this. String ability, or whoops, what am I doing? List string ability strings. All right, add in that. And then ability string. Actually, we could just return it. What am I doing? Yeah, we don't even need the space anymore. Delete that, return that, delete this and that, and put a new line there and there. What kind of Mac do I have? Check out the specs command. I only say that because it's got more information. But yeah, it is the, oh, I can open up the game. Come on. It is the Mac Studio M2 Ultra. Rogue always has the same damage per second. Yeah, the Rogue doesn't have any random chance, at least until you get abilities. All right, so now this should have printed slightly better. Abilities prints is just blank. The reason why is because we actually do have abilities defined, so it can't tell that all skills are level 0 until it reads this, which I guess we could have, like if ability strings is empty, then we could return this. Const string no skills defined equals that. Yeah, there. And then just do this down here. If that, perfect. All right, but yeah, it's working. Oh, this was nuts. All right, let's go do the very easy work now, just moving this out of here. So we'll just say something like BattleSimulator.run dungeon tests. And then go create that. Public static whatever. Oh, that won't work because we don't have player abilities, because we don't have get specific adventurers. None of this stuff exists. Oh man. Well, we can just add those things. We can pass in the town. Yeah. Although we can't run multiple scenarios at once since we have level up adventurers. We don't have a way of leveling them down. Could we make a way of leveling them down? Level up adventurers. This is only used by debug functions, right? Yeah. So yeah, we could just have set level of adventurers and it could down level them. This would just have to do minus minus. I'm not going to do that right now. But I do need to get this stuff working. So this, oh God, it's going to be such a big change. Because this on its own is already going to, I need to make this public now. Alternatively, we just pass this in. BattleSimulator dot instances manager equals instances manager. Yeah. Maybe check the other stuff in. Yeah. I think I'm going to go the easy route here. Non-nullable property. We'll just do that. Shouldn't this be in a different spot now? I think it should be. I don't know why it's not complaining about this. A field's not follow a property. That's why. Because it's a property. Hippity hoppity. All right. Instances manager. We just get rid of every single place where we pass this in, because now it's just going to be assumed to be set. This becomes capital. This goes away. It's not even needed in the battle simulator configuration. No, I didn't have it in there to begin with. What am I doing? It's a queued configuration though, so even that needs to go away. Well, it's making things simpler. No, we don't need this. We don't need that. We actually don't need this either. Start battles. Yeah. Okay, cool. And what else is in here that we need to fix? This already exists, so I don't have a problem with that. This isn't needed. So we need two functions to exist: level up adventurers and get specific adventurers. Easy. Easy. So that's public now. Now we just put it in the right spot. And then get specific adventurers. Put that in the right spot too. Call them from the town reference that we had. Oops. Town dot. And we're done, right? Well, except for the whole public things should come before private things. Okay. We've done it. We've done it. We've balanced nothing. I haven't changed a single ability all of today. I've spent like 6 hours or 7 hours streaming. But I did it. Not one stat has changed. I am glad we put in the time for this. You never know before you automate something if you've never done the scenario before. Was it faster to just do the scenario manually every single time in your life? Or was it faster to automate it by writing the automation and then running the automation, of course, and maintaining it. And in this case, we spent 7 hours writing automation for something, and so far 0 hours making actual changes. But if we just jumped right to making actual changes, I think it would have taken longer than 7 hours. We'll never know because I won't be in that world. All right, so now we can actually test some of this stuff. Let's try with real scenarios, which we only have the mage and the rogue at first. So let's give the mage with, what are their abilities? I don't even know what their abilities are. Mage has storm intensity and inspiration. So storm intensity, inspiration. This is not how I wanted to type this. Also, I'd love a more succinct way of doing this. I guess we could just know. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to worry about this right now. All right, so mage with level 1 of this. Mage with level 1 of this. And a baseline of a mage with none of that. Yeah. So mage with nothing, mage with one of their skills, mage with the other one. That's it. Those are the only choices you can possibly have for that. Then the rogue has the same general layout. Because this dungeon is only accessible, well, it's always accessible, but it's one of the only instances before you've beaten the first boss. So your maximum level is 2, which means the number of skill points you can have is 1. And the rogue has what? Quicker strike and stealth. All right. You know what we should probably do is make sure you didn't specify a skill loadout that doesn't exist as a possible skill that you even have. It's a good validation thing to do at some point later. Validate that you haven't specified a skill in battle simulation configuration. What was it? Yeah, in adventurer skill loadouts that the adventurer doesn't even have. The battle simulator will happily accept it anyway. All right, so we're going to run, what, 6 scenarios? Let's go try it out. I also want to time this stopwatch. So as soon as the game starts... Is it going to start? Maybe there's a bug. No, there it goes. All right, and start. Okay, well, my mouse broke again. Stupid mouse. Couldn't start the timer. All right, there. I started the timer now. Although the battle simulator could just keep track of how long it took. Is it done? I think it's done. No. There, now it's done. All right, it took about... What? I thought that said 24 right before I stopped it. I don't know how long this took. Maybe 20 seconds. Test adding new abilities to an adventurer. I don't think that'd be a good idea. Yeah, the adding abilities bit. I think if we want to add abilities, we would just need to also manifest it in the all adventurer data. Because I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, let's look through the data now. Copy and paste. What? The mage wins 66% of its fights without any skills? So that should go up. It went up to 83% when it had storm intensity. It went up by like 2 battles when it had inspiration. This makes me think inspiration is a bad skill, but it actually is probably just bad at low levels, which means it probably shouldn't be usable at low levels. For those who don't know, since I'm just using names of stuff and it's obviously not apparent just from the name, the way that the mage works is they have a passive ability that says on any spell cast, there's a 20% chance to speed up all other spells by like 50%. And at level 2, you have 2 spells. The way that inspiration works is it says increases that chance from 20% to, I don't know, like 35% for one of your spells. Fireball. So at level 2, when you only have 2 spells, when you finally get this extra chance to happen, you're speeding up 2 spells. But at max level, you can have up to 4 spells, and then the impact is even greater. Is 100 battles really enough? How much randomness is there in skill cooldowns? I mean, some of these things can be pretty small percentages, so maybe it's not totally enough, but I think it's enough to at least get a decent picture. Would you recommend using a split keyboard over a traditional one? I'm contemplating to try one, but I'm still on the fence about it. I'm just not sure whether it's worth the hassle of relearning how to type. Oh man. Okay, so here's what I think. Rather than like analyze everything, I think the question is like, would I do this all again? Knowing what I know now. And the answer is yes, I love this keyboard. So yeah, I think it's worth it, but I already spent all of that time on the learning curve. But yeah, I think it's cool, it's fun, it's something I built. I learned a lot doing it, so I think it's worth it. But I think really the things that might sort of tip you one way or the other is, do you have any sort of hand or wrist pain? Do you, I don't know, do you like the idea of less hand movement? I mean, I have a keyboard camera, so you can see how often my hands are actually moving on the keyboard. But it's like, I can type practically anything here, like public, void, foo, whatever, parenthesis. I like hardly move my fingers for this. X, Y, return X plus Y. I type numbers here, whatever else, move the mouse around. All of that stuff is very easily doable with almost no hand movement. And I find that so cool. All right, so I think this is one of the balance realizations. Inspiration is bad at low levels. Yeah. How much did my DPS even go up by? Went from 9.3 to 9.9. It's like less than a 10% increase in DPS. It would be better with more skills. How do you have your keyboard set up? Do you not type letters? So, short story is, if you look at a traditional keyboard, there's no way to type a $sign. It's just one key. You type Shift plus 4, at least on an American keyboard. It's the same general way here. Like Shift sort of puts you in another layer where now some keys do different things. So like this key is U, and when I press another key and then press that, it's now the up arrow. So that's how I can do different things with different keys. I could also make the U key type an 8. I can also make it type an asterisk. I can also make it move the mouse up. So that one key does like 6 different things. Run the battles like 100 times and you can analyze the abilities. That's what we're doing. That's why it says ran 100 battles. Yeah. All right, so anyway, that was the mage. Now the rogue has a 28% win rate. And then they get 1 level in quicker strike and it goes up to 86%. How is that possible? I guess it's just enough to make them always... Oh, because there's actually no randomness with this fight either, other than how long you live because of the enemies. Yeah. Interesting. Wow, that's a super powerful ability, though. And then with the other skill, it increased their win rate by 13%. How much did it change their damage? Their damage actually didn't change by too much, but I'm guessing it increased their survivability by just enough. Yeah, it must have been that. Because max life remaining was actually 38%. Whereas in the base case, actually it was even higher, but that's pure luck. Yeah, it's pure luck both ways. This is... It's going to take so long. There's just so much to compare here. And this is just one party member. They're not tracking the enemy's health. In the first scenario, there may be at 10% health left, and that's why the rogue loses. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of data to go through here. And then even once we have the data, it's like, okay, inspiration is bad at low levels. Do we move it to a high level? Do we change it? Do we, I don't know, do we have another ability completely so the mage has like 8 abilities? I think I gotta get going pretty soon, by the way. Can we slow this down? I kind of want to. Okay, here's what I want to try. How do I stay focused for so long? It's Friday, so I know I'm going to just take a break after all of this. But if I weren't going to be taking a break and tomorrow were Thursday or something, I'd probably be like, all right, I can't put in this much energy. But I'd planned on streaming long today. Goals of the player can beat the ogre with these 2 characters, these levels. As long as we balance around that, it should be okay. Yeah, but there's some far-reaching implications of some of this stuff. Like let's say the way we went is we're like, you know what, inspiration is underpowered compared to the other thing. Let's improve inspiration. We might totally throw off the mage for the end game at that point. And I wanted to test this briefly. So here's what I want to try. We're going to get rid of these things. DVD, thanks for the sub. Welcome. I don't know if I've ever seen you say something in chat. No, I have not. But you've been following for 4 years now. Thanks for subbing. It's okay to have bad abilities at low level. Players need to think their options. Well, yeah, and there aren't even that many options. There's just 2. All right, so what I want to see is what's the baseline when you have Ice Blast and Stalagmite. So Ice Blast and Stalagmite. So with these abilities, now you'll have 4 spells. So with those 4 spells, and then those 4 spells with inspiration as well. I don't know if this is going to be all that interesting, but let's try this out. So now when you speed up your spell casting, you're speeding up 4 spells. So now instead of a whatever 10% DPS increase, it should be more. Let's see what it is. Baseline DPS 15.5 went up to 16.2. It's actually less. Maybe because the battles aren't lasting long enough. Yeah, it's probably that. This is another problem that we have. Well, what if we just set you to level 1 so you have slightly less power? This is going to take forever. There are tons of combinations. I like what Conf was saying about have a genetic algorithm that's sort of figuring out what the stronger builds are. All right, did that severely improve everything? No, it did not. All right, well, I don't know. In fact, we won fewer battles? I guess it's just the randomness playing. Will you be pushing this later? Kind of want to play around with this? I think the earliest I could probably promise it would be tomorrow, but maybe I could try to push it tonight. Push the stuff I did and tell Darkstorm. Make sure to make her read me. Yeah, if we just have this run for more battles, we run it for 1,000, let's say. See what that does tonight, please. Oh, none of this would be streamed if I were to do that. I've got to stop pretty soon. It's getting a little bit late. I got to feed the cat. All right, so now we're running tons and tons of tests. Oh, we're running 1,000 battles at once. That's why this is so laggy. Yeah, I probably should make it so that it chunks them into battles of like 500 at a time. All right, anyway, it's about to win the other ones, so let's try that. It's taking its sweet time here. There it goes. Okay, conclusion. This skill is not good. Oh, man. Yeah. Maybe we can just increase the percentage of it. How do they make that map? What map? That. There's an asset pack on itch called Super Retro World, and we use those assets, and then Darkstorm actually crafted the map. But crafting the map is just, take some tiles and put them in a particular place, which is not hard on a small scale. Dark probably took a lot of time doing this. I think it looks really nice. But the actual like plonking down tiles is like painting with a paintbrush almost. Okay, well that's a performance feature we should probably add at some point. Probably split battles up into chunks of maybe like 500 each, since they run in parallel. All right. So yeah, inspiration is just not very good. Then again, who knows? Maybe when we put this into a party with a bunch of other characters, it's going to be very different. Man. Yeah, I would have to check this stuff in. This, I'm going to check in on its own. This is easy. Remove annoying, what do you call these? Enter rule. It was for parameters spanning multiple lines. It's just never helpful. Rage face, yeah. Inspiration 1 equals inspiration 0. I suspect that if it's ever powerful, it's only powerful in group battles at the end of the game. Because this goes from a 10% chance to a, well, I don't have any other skill points, to a 20% chance. So the inspiration itself would have a 40% chance for fireball. And for long battles, that probably does make a big difference. I say probably. That's why we need to balance test this. But for short battles, it clearly doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay, so there was that. Can we check in this other stuff? Is it ready? This should be false if we're going to do this. Yeah. I just, ugh. This isn't bad. Yeah, it's not bad. It really isn't bad. I should probably make sure the game actually works. What is this stuff though? Why'd this change? I didn't do anything here. What? What changed here? I don't see any difference. Oh, is the parameter names thing spanning multiple lines? Is that what changed? Please tell me that's not what changed. Num available skill points label. Oh, God. Okay, maybe it was that. Oh, God. Well, maybe we put that linter rule back. Undo last commit. Where are you? All right, let's comment this out. I can't even edit this. Unstage. Where'd it go? There it is. Now if I save this, does it change the formatting? It doesn't? What? What? I don't even know what caused this. Alignment. Oh, reload after changing the, yeah. So now what? Did this go back to what it used to be? What if I just revert this manually and then save? No, it's changing it again. Why is it doing that? I don't have a different linting setup. What? The old way spanned Oh, the old way was actually one line. Oh no, please tell me it's going to put that back to the middle. Oh no, it's not. Can I like reset this somehow? You can't? Oh, you can double click. Whew. Okay. I don't know what caused it. Oh wait. Oh, I think I know what caused it. I think Quickie Joe wrote this commit and probably has a different setup from what the auto formatter is going to use. So then I can probably safely delete this. Yeah. Okay, let's check that in. Okay, now let's go back to skill tree. And yeah, I think we just check these in as like fixed spacing or something. Yeah, let's check just that in on its own, in fact. Stage. Fixed spacing. This was, or automatically fixed spacing. I just saved the file and saw these changes, so I assume there's a difference in how Quickie Joe has his editor set up. By the way, not a big deal. This is not a like I'm blaming someone for something kind of thing. I thought you ran .NET format after the commit. I don't recall. I think I did. Yeah, and probably something else went wrong. Who's Joe? Quickie Joe is the primary artist on the game. On a fresh Godot installation, it applies its own indent settings to the open and save files. I'm still not totally sure what happened, but either way, I don't really mind as long as there aren't two editors fighting each other constantly. Like we have a bunch of UID issues that I'm just like, fine, time to save over this. Was there anything else I wanted for this? I don't think so. Yeah. So improve Battle Simulator. It can now set the ability levels of each class passed in. Is that all it can do? Yeah. Okay. I could push this, but I did not update the README yet. So please, please, please be very careful about this stuff. Yeah. I think the README is going to be pretty important. But yeah, this is all just in main now. And it should be turned off by default, so I hope that when I start up the game, it's not running in turbo speed. All it can do. Well, yeah, I expected it to be like a mega change. Well, sorry, many changes, but it was just a mega change. Okay, it's not running in turbo speed. I should be able to start a battle. Yep, I should be able to add skill points to stuff. I really should have tested this. Yeah. All right, let's try putting a bunch of points in quicker strike and then restarting this battle. And it should be attacking pretty fast now. Yep. Yep. There's so much work. It's like each enemy has its own stats, and there could be multiple different enemies in a fight. And then, oh man, yeah, there's just a lot to figure out. Well, whatever. Every month the game has looked drastically different from the month before. And we'll eventually get all these skill things figured out. All right, I think that's it for the stream. I have been online for quite a long time today. Yeah, this has got to be like some record in the last month for me. 7 hours and 20 minutes. I should have taken more breaks. I think we just need the team health as far as battle stats. There's also their damage, though, that they do. I know that that's tracked by the adventurers. And then bosses are a totally different scenario because we got to give them special abilities. Anyway, What if we just assign that task to Dark? Balance the game. God, talking about cruel and unusual punishment. All right, I'm gonna raid somebody. Or we are gonna raid L:Q. And then I'm taking off. I'll be back online on Monday. I'm looking forward to sharing with everyone the results of Monday, the results of Sunday, which is going to be a user research session. I'm going to have a friend over here. He's going to be playing at this computer. Oh, he will be using a sucky keyboard for that, won't he? Yeah, I'll need to set him up with a different one. But anyway, I'm gonna report on that on Monday. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you have a good weekend and hope to see you on Monday. Take care.